Alright, so to finish off today's lesson here, we're given this equation, and I am giving you guys the option to choose a method to solve. And I'm going to actually go through all three of them. To solve by graphing, I'm not going to be very specific about it. I'm going to show you how to go about it on the graphing calculator, and that should hopefully be enough for you guys to see there. But so I won't go into very much detail about the graphing calculator, and you guys have seen this in your previous units, so hopefully this is just review, and if you guys have any questions, definitely please come and see me. So first I'm going to do solving using algebra, then I'm going to go through solving using both methods of graphing, okay? So to start off here, we're going to look at solving it algebraically. If you guys chose through graphing, you guys can skip through ahead to or later into the video. If not, just sit back and I guess hang tight, I guess. Alright, so for this function here we have 3 over x is equal to 1 plus x minus 13 over 6. So what we need to do is we need to find that LCD, and in this case here, the LCD is 6x, so you multiply those denominators together. So now we're going to multiply each term by 6x. So we'd have 3 over x times it by 6x. That is equal to 1 times 6x plus x minus 13 times 6x over 6. So now let's start canceling some terms out. So here we have the x's here will cancel. We can't cancel anything in our second term because there's no denominator. And then in our third one here, we can cancel out those 6's. So what we're left with is 3 times 6 is 18 is equal to 1 times 6x, that'd be 6x, plus 13, or x minus 13 times x. We can distribute that if you don't mind us doing that in one step. So what we do is we'd have x times x is x squared. Negative 13 times x is negative 13x. I'm just going to scroll on down here. So from there, let's move everything to one side, and I'm also going to reorder this if you don't mind me doing that as well. So we have 0 is equal to, I'm going to have x squared. Then we'll have 6x minus 13x. That'll be negative 7x. And then we're going to move 18x to, or sorry, just 18 to the other side. So we have negative 18. From there, we're going to factor. This a value here is equal to 1, so we can factor. And so we're going to be looking at a product of negative 18 and a sum of negative 7. So what two numbers will give you a product of negative 18 and a sum of negative 7? Those two numbers, if you ladies hopefully maybe figure that out, that'd be negative 9 and positive 2. So we're going to use these two numbers to rewrite that middle term. So we have 0 is equal to x squared minus 9x plus 2x minus 18. Then we're going to group and pull out a common factor. So our common factor in our first little group is x. So we have 0 is equal to x times x minus 9. In our second group, we can pull a common factor of 2. So we have x minus 9. That's how we know we did our graphing, or sorry, our factoring correctly, is that we have the same brackets here. Pulling out that x minus 9 term, we have x minus 9, and what we're left with is x plus 2. Okay. So setting each of those factors equal to 0, we have x minus 9 is equal to 0, and x plus 2 is equal to 0. From there, solve for x, so we have x is equal to 9, and we have x is equal to negative 2. So first of all, check, or I guess you guys can compare this with your restrictions. Here we had, the only restriction here would be, I guess, this term here. It's the only variable in the denominator. So here x cannot be equal to 0. And are either or of those two equal to 0? No. So those check out according to the restrictions. So now what we need to do is we need to verify this. So let's verify each one. So your first one will be x is equal to 9. Put this into your original equation. So there we had 3, divide that by 9 is equal to 1 plus, it would be 9 minus 13 over 6. Simplifying that, if you like, we can simplify 3 over 9 to 1 over 3. Or if you want to leave that and see if maybe eventually we'd have to make it back up to 9. It's up to you. And so that is equal to 1 plus 9 minus 13 is negative 4 over 6. Then we can rewrite, so we'd have 1 over 3 is equal to, and if we want a common denominator, or if we want to, we can simplify this first. So we'd have 1 minus, we can reduce this to 2 over 3. Going to scroll on down here. And if you guys want to, this is 3 over 3, so it'd be 3 minus 2. And what we'd have is that 1 over 3 is in fact equal to 1 over 3. So that checks out wonderfully. Okay? Now we'll do the same for x is equal to negative 2. So I'm just going to start up a new page here. And so here we have x is equal to negative 2. So there we have 3 over negative 2 is equal to 1 plus negative 2 minus 13 all over 6. We can write this as negative 3 over 2 is equal to 1, and that'd be plus negative 15 over 6. Then we can rewrite, so we have negative 3 over 2 is equal to, if we want a common denominator here, or if we want to keep these as or write this as the same denominator, this would be 6 over 6, and subtract 15 over 6. Negative 3 over 2 is then equal to, so we have 6 minus 15, that is equal to negative 9 over 6. And our last step there is to reduce it. So they both have that common factor. We can reduce it by 3. So we have negative 3 over 2 is equal to negative 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So these, your left side and your right side, are correct. Okay? So that's solving it algebraically. You guys have seen this before in your other units. You guys hopefully have lots of practice. The only thing new there is finding that LCD, which you guys have been working on LCD for a number of years, okay? So now I'm going to open up my graphing calculator, and we're going to compare our solutions. And I will go through each method, and so hopefully, and if you guys chose to graph it, make sure you actually do this into your notes. But no matter which method you choose, you will get the exact same answer for all three. Alright, so I'm just going to leave our algebraic solution up here. And so for our first graphing, we're going to move everything to one side. And so what we're going to have is y is equal to, I'm going to move this 3 over x to the other side. So we have 1 plus x minus 13 over 6. Subtract 3 over x. Now I'm going to quickly switch over to my graphing calculator, and this is exactly how you guys are going to put this into your graphing calculator. And our solution there is when y is equal to 0, okay? So I'm going to switch over to my graphing calculator now, and we'll take a look at what this exactly will look like. Alright, so here is my graphing calculator screen, and what we'll notice is that, remember, so when y is equal to 0, so that's when it crosses this axis here. Though that is when we're going to have our solutions. So here we have y is equal to 0 and x is equal to negative 2. And here y is equal to 0 and x is equal to 9, okay? So there our solution. I'm switching over back here. So here our solution was at, we had 9 and 0 and negative 2 and 0. So when you're graphing, you're looking at your x values. That's your solution. So x is equal to 9. And x is equal to negative 2. For the next, our second option for graphing is when we graph each side independently or individually. So we have y is equal to 3 over x, and y is equal to 1 plus x minus 13 over 6. So you're going to graph each of these and put them onto the same coordinate plane, and you look at where they intersect. So now we're not going to be looking at where y is equal to 0. Now we want to know what invariant points are there. So where do they intersect? What points do they have in common? So I'm going to quickly switch over to my graphing calculator, pull up that screen, and we'll look at that solution. Alright, so once again, here is the screen of my graphing calculator. And here, if you guys notice this blue line here, or these two blue lines, this is y is equal to 3 over x. And then this red line here is the other function, so that was 1 plus x minus 13 over 6. And so here what we're going to be doing is we're looking at where do they intersect? Where are those invariant points? So my graphing calculator is pretty nice. It'll tell us right there. So here we have x is equal to 9 and y is equal to, that'd be 1/3 or 0.333. Then our other value there is at x is equal to -2 and y is equal to 1 or -1.5. So here we had -2 and -1.5, and then our other one there was at 9 and 0.333. Now if you guys notice, yes, these our y values here are different, but what you notice here is that your x values are still the same. We still have x is equal to -2, x is equal to 9. So just remember, when you graph them independently, look at where they intersect. When we're graphing them as one function, you look at where they cross that x-axis. And if you compare all three solutions, you will notice that they are all the exact same. So the graphing will give us a coordinate, but you just look at your x value. And then solving algebraically will just give us those x values, okay? So hopefully you tried out one of those methods, and you know, hopefully you get this point now that they are all the same. You guys should have seen this the last few units anyways. So there you go. Now you guys can get started on your homework, and so just remember that tomorrow will be assignment. It's a short unit, so tomorrow's assignment, and in a couple days we'll have a test, okay?